Well, good evening and welcome to Queer News Tonight. This is the world's first and only LGBTQ plus daily evening television news. We're broadcasting live and available on demand. And then we're available on all smart televisions, including Roku, Apple TV, Android TV, Amazon Fire TV, and Twitch, YouTube, and Facebook. It's time to queer up the news. It's Tuesday, September 5th, 2023. We're live and literally out of the closet and into the headlines. So many of your important stories we're going to tell this evening on Queer News Tonight.
This is the world's first live daily LGBTQ evening news show. Literally out of the closet
By the way,
and into the headlines
in that interview
on
with
Queer
you
News
that you're
Tonight
funny.
with Al Ferguson.
You had no idea.
I had no idea. I'm your anchor at Queer News Tonight, Al Ferguson, and this evening we bring you the news of and a perspective representing the LGBTQ plus community from South Florida, America, and across our planet.
This is the world's first and only unedited live LGBTQ plus evening news show. Whatever happens unique in LGBTQ plus news, you will see it and hear it.
Hotspots Magazine Happening Out Television Network is a nonprofit 501c3 media company in the same model of PBS and NPR, but designed for the LGBTQ plus community. Our mission is to support the 10 pillars of our LGBTQ plus community. We want to inform and educate the key issues of our Black community, Latino, lesbians and queer women, trans, students, youth, seniors, HIV/AIDS, healthcare, business, social justice, and faith. Help us support our community.
We are part of one of the largest LGBTQ plus media companies in America, Hotspots Magazine and Happening Out Television Network. Our magazine is celebrating 38 years of the LGBTQ plus experience, and our television news, talk, and entertainment shows support our mission to educate the LGBTQ plus and broader community.
Let's welcome anchor Francia. Francia is an Afro-Venezuelan recording artist, singer-songwriter, dancer, lawyer, and yoga practitioner. His first album, Infinita, is streaming on all music platforms and is a genre-fluid melange of Latin rhythms. Before finding his artistic vocation, Francia practiced corporate law in New York City and was a member of the Council on Foreign Relations. Welcome, Francia.
Thank you so much for having me, and I want to thank my family at LATV Network and LATV Roots for making me part of their cast of Blacktinidad. I will be doing a show on all things related to Afro-Latinidad, Afro-Latinx issues on LATV Network. So you can find us on the LATV Network app or at watch.latv.com.
Excellent. All right, please give a warm welcome to Mateo Ventura Bruer, the Executive Director of the Aqua Foundation for Women. Mateo is proudly trans and Latine and is Aqua's first transgender Executive Director.
Thank you, Al. And speaking of being trans, this weekend we're bringing back TransCon for the first time since 2019. So on Saturday at the Scott Galvin Community Center, 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. We still have a few tickets left, so get them now.
Huge turnout, I understand. That's amazing. Let's welcome anchor Bonny Builder. Bonny is the premier South Florida bodybuilding drag queen. A recent graduate of FIU, she comes to life with a microphone and a spotlight. Welcome, Bonny.
Thank you, Al. Thank you so much for having me here. And if you want me to bump you up, you can find me at Body 20. That is Body 20, a fitness center in Wilton Manors along 26th Street. We use EMS technology to get you these muscles, baby.
That's great. All right, we are the reporters for Queer News Tonight, and this evening we bring you, we begin with the queer headlines. The LGBTQ plus community in South Florida and across America is diverse. Our community across the world is vast, and here are the bullet points of the queer news for today, Tuesday, September 5th. Let's queer up business. The GFLGLCC presents their quarterly networking business luncheon. It is presented by TD Bank on September 27. The Greater Fort Lauderdale LGBT Chamber of Commerce was founded in 2011. It is a fully independent chamber of commerce affiliated with the NGLCC, the National LGBTQ Chamber of Commerce, based in Washington, D.C. The organization supports LGBTQ plus member businesses and the community. GFLGLCC has now scheduled its quarterly networking luncheon on September 27th at Sonesta Hotel, Fort Lauderdale. The event will start at 11:30 a.m. The event is presented by TD Bank. The chef at the Sonesta will create a wonderful 3-course lunch served with coffee and tea. A vegetarian option and cash bar will also be available. Valet parking will be available at the event for $10. Hotspots Magazine and Happening Out Television Network is the media partner for the event. The luncheon will be a great opportunity for the community members and business owners to connect with each other and share ideas. Those who want to find out more can go to gayfortlauderdale.com. I'm a big supporter of this, and the reason I'm a big supporter of this is as we face the challenges, especially in Florida and in the capital, that we've had by a radical supermajority and a governor and a presidential candidate, if we are going to be successful in winning the hearts and minds of community, we have to show that we represent everything. That includes business. So while I always hesitate to use the word normal, we are normalizing the LGBT experience. We have business owners that worry about their sales and all of the things that business owners worry about, except they come from a lens of LGBTQ+. And that's why a Chamber of Commerce here is so important. And this is one of the largest in the United States. I'm going, and I'm looking forward to it.
What I really love about this is that oftentimes disenfranchised communities, we don't understand that we have power in our purchasing dollars. And where we put our dollars is a representation of our values. So if we go to these Chambers of Commerce's websites, we can see many businesses that are LGBTQ owned, and we can use our purchasing power to support these businesses, to strengthen our community, and to make sure that where we put our dollar, that's where we put our mouth as well.
And in the shadow of a very tragic event that happened, I believe, last week, where a business owner was slain because she put up the pride flag, it is very important for us to show up and show out with the gay dollar and show that these queer businesses, gay businesses, will be
allied
thriving.
businesses.
Or allied businesses will be thriving, we will be prospering, we will be giving them every dollar so that they can grow, take over, make everything fucking gay, much like me. And I think it's just a very important time for us to do that right now.
I agree, especially with it's smart business practice as well. If you know, our dollars, our money's just as green.
Yes.
So, and the owners that business owners that understand that we have tremendous purchasing power should be courting us.
You know, one last thought before we move on to your story, Mateo. I love that TD Bank is behind this. As sponsor, TD Bank is not gay. TD Bank is not trans. It's not lesbian. It's not anything. It's a bank. And where businesses like TD Bank say, this is important in our community, a bank is really the ultimate representation. Whether you've liked the banking industry historically or not, the bank is the place that is identified so closely to community. And TD Bank is standing up and saying the LGBTQ community and the businesses in our community are important. So I applaud them, because that's the exact point I think that Mateo just made.
Next, let's queer up South Florida and Florida. The Miami Book Fair celebrates 40 years this November. Miami-Dade College's 40th Miami Book Fair will take place from November 12th through the 19th in downtown Miami. The Miami Book Fair has already unveiled its official poster created by Miami-based Peruvian artist and graphic designer Jose Choque, a New World School of the Arts senior in the senior in the Bachelor of Fine Arts in Graphic Design program. The concept for the poster is inspired by storytelling, getting lost within books, and allowing your imagination to soar unrestrained. This year's Miami Book Fair will feature some of the world's top authors, influencers, and celebrities, including evenings with headliners like Kerry Washington, Joan Baez, David Brooks, Walter Mosley, Jada Pinkett Smith, and Henry Winkler, among others. Free social gatherings this year will include an opening day block party on Sunday, November 12th, and the return of Lost Chapter, a nightly rooftop lounge with views of the downtown Miami skyline. In recognition of Miami's growth into a culture destination and Miami Book Fair's leading role in that transformation over the past 40 years, A special celebration dinner, The Next Page, will take place at the JW Marriott Marquis on Friday, November 17th. During the evening, Miami Book Fair will honor 3 writers with a deep connection to the fair and Miami, as well as 3 community leaders who have made a positive, lasting impact. Well, as a book lover, avid reader my whole life myself, I think this is awesome. It's really exciting, and I think for all of the people talking about, nobody reads books anymore these days. People do. People totally do. And having our stories be told, especially there's so many amazing queer authors out there to honor. And Miami is such a multicultural place. I think this just makes a lot of sense, and it sounds like it's going to be a lot of fun.
And in an era of censorship where Florida has been on the spotlight for books who are not permissible in schools anymore, this sends out a signal that this is a staple of Miami culture. Long before Art Basel, long before Miami Swim Week, long before many of these amazing events are now coming to Miami, there was this fair. Standing up for our kids, standing up for our needs to literacy. And so I applaud them, and I cannot wait to go to these events.
You know, one thing that I would say about Miami Book Fair that I don't think a lot in our community know, I've probably done 25 focused interviews in 2023 with authors, both in seat and digital, all over the world. Books are really incredibly important. I will piggyback to your observation. In a time when books are being censored because they say something and a decision maker is saying, no, I don't like that, and I can protest the book, have the book removed from a library without any real substantive justification, is an indication that we have to rush to the defense of our books. Miami Book Fair does that. And to my friends, I would say 40 years here, a lot of people do not, in our LGBTQ community, do not know that it's not New York, it's not the academic hub of America, Boston, it is not Chicago that has the greatest and largest book fair in America. It's the salsa diversity roots of Miami, and I love that. The largest book fair in the country. One last thought. You should check out, to our audience that's listening to this show, one of the things that we don't explore in this, but we are, as we approach November, we will do much more on it. They have a silo for LGBT authors. Last year, I believe the silo included about 20 authors from all over the world that came in, introducing books and important to our LGBTQ community. And so the Miami Book Fair, put on by Miami-Dade College, makes a very significant commitment to our LGBTQ community. Take the time to look at what the Miami Book Fair is doing. If you're LGBT, you're going to find interesting things to participate. And by the way, as everyone at this table knows, books are sexy.
Yes.
Sexy.
Excellent. And next, let's queer up gay culture. Greater Fort Lauderdale offers world-class nightlife. If you're in Fort Lauderdale, you need to be assured of one thing. Here, the party never stops, even after sunset. Greater Fort Lauderdale's nightlife offers entertainment that includes dancing, gaming, bars, restaurants, comedy shows, drag, and live music to keep your pulse pounding from sunset to sunrise. The party happens around the clock in Fort Lauderdale. Much of the city's nightlife centers around the gorgeous beaches, which means you can step from your sun lounger straight into the bars for tropical drinks, tasty seafood, and stunning ocean views from the patios and balconies. Head away to the coast and you'll find charming riverside bars, floating dinner cruises, and high-rise rooftop bars. Wilton Manors has some of the top LGBTQ+ bars in Florida, including Hunter's Nightclub, The Pub, Georgie's Alibi, Hamburger Mary's, and Drink Bar and Lounge. Whether you're looking for a relaxing meal with a view, want to party until dawn, laugh your lungs out, or want to make your night exciting with the nightly drag shows at Lips Fort Lauderdale, entertainment is guaranteed at Fort Lauderdale. The Lips shows, especially the Dragalicious comedy game show nights, are all about positivity and audience participation. And because variety is a way of life in Greater Fort Lauderdale, chances are you can find whatever atmosphere you're yearning for. Visit Lauderdale, everyone under the sun. Forgot your edit. Forgot your edit in at.
My remote's on the fritz.
Oh, thank you. Mine's reading yours. Okay, perfect. I'll go slower. So I've been exploring a lot of the events at the Hard Rock Casino and Life event. They have at the Casino Life, they have so many performances. I went to see the Gay Men's Chorus thanks to Happening Out Television Network. I went to see Gloria Trevi, which I love. She's a queen of drag, queen of like LGBT culture for us Latinos. And so I keep coming back to Lauderdale for entertainment options, especially live music.
And you're a Miami boy.
And it's a trek, so.
And as a drag queen performer, I have performed on the streets of Fort Lauderdale quite a few times. I performed at Alibi, and next week you can catch me at the Village Pub on Monday. I'll be in the drag show. I'll be the sexiest I'll be the sexiest and most literate drag queen in the show. You can catch me there next Monday at the Village Pub.
Yeah.
You know, one of the things that I think is really interesting about this story of Fort Lauderdale and Broward County, honestly, I think of almost anyone in here in South Florida, I talk to destinations all over the country and all over the world frequently. We're doing stories that are international and national. We're talking about different kinds of programs that we do. I talk to choruses. I talk to prides. I talk to churches, LGBT churches. One of the things that I have learned in the 5 years that I have been down here is we're really lucky to be in Broward County. Broward is Atlanta. Broward, Fort Lauderdale is San Antonio. Broward is Phoenix. Broward is Denver. But for LGBT, we're New York. Broward is San Francisco. Broward is Los Angeles. We don't have those population centers in strength, but our LGBT overproduces so dramatically. We have the luxury of living here and encouraging people to come and travel here. And for our LGBT community, it is just a spectacular place. And the success is overwhelming. I don't know if you know, Visit Lauderdale documents LGBT that comes to the county. 1.2 million visitors are on track.
It's amazing.
From LGBT in 2023. And we just told you why. We have spectacular entertainment, including the pub on Monday.
Yes.
Yes.
Did you forget you're doing the next story now?
No, I was doing a dramatic pause.
Okay.
Next, let's queer up gay culture. Elon Musk's relationship with his trans daughter continues to fall apart. Elon Musk has spoken out about his painful estrangement from his transgender daughter, calling her a communist and blaming her politics on the expensive private high school she attended. Musk's now 19-year-old child legally changed her gender to female last year. She changed her name to Vivian Jenna Wilson, saying in court filings that she no longer wishes to be related to the billionaire Tesla CEO in any way. In an excerpt from his upcoming biography published by the Wall Street Journal, author Walter Isaacson wrote that Musk's rift with Vivian pained him more than anything in his life since the infant death of his firstborn child, Nevada, who died just 10 weeks after the birth due to sudden infant death syndrome. According to the author, the billionaire was generally optimistic when he first learned of his child's transition, but things changed when Vivian, who also goes by Jenna, began expressing extreme Marxist views and declared her intention to sever all ties. Musk told the author, quote, "She went beyond socialism to being a full communist and thinking that anyone rich is evil," end quote. Musk blamed Crossroads, the private K-12 school in Santa Monica, for this. The biographer reveals that Musk's painful rift with Vivian is partly responsible for the billionaire's ongoing obsession with woke ideology, which he views as a threat to human civilization. And it seems that Musk is refusing to take any responsibility in the upbringing of his child. Maybe the daughter was exposed to all of his ongoings and realized, oh, this is bad. This is all not good. I should separate myself from this. But Musk refuses to acknowledge that. He's saying, it was the school. It was the songs they play on the radio nowadays. She's always on her phone. But never like, oh, the parenting that I implemented on my child resulted in a free thinker who's now deciding, hey, the shit that I do, which isn't cool, isn't cool.
She's talked about his absence so much in her life
Yeah.
growing up.
And maybe she decided, oh yeah, maybe it's not great that my grandpa, employed slaves or not employed, but had slavery and his emerald mines, And it's funny, I grew up down the street from that school and know plenty of kids went there. I don't think that they're teaching the most...
Karl Marx.
No, probably not. But I think it's interesting too when it comes to a capitalist that he would have been willing to maybe have the conversation about her being trans and still involving her in his life, but drew the line at, oh, no, she wants to tax me. That's where I draw the line.
Ooh, that's a powerful observation.
The article even mentions Musk's obsession with woke culture, right? So I wonder what the contours of her views are, because it seems to me that he's just obsessed. Anything that remotely resembles woke culture, he's going to lash out. And to your point about I cannot imagine a private school in Santa Monica, of all places, is necessarily the breeding ground for Marxist ideology. But what do I know?
That's where all the actors and actresses send their kids. That's what
To that
Crossroads,
school?
Yeah, that's what Crossroads is.
Yeah,
So.
Crossroads is that school. It's interesting to me. I'm going to have a brick wall fall on me. I like Elon Musk, but I dislike almost everything that Elon Musk does and says now. There's an Elon Musk of 5 years ago, which is different than the Elon Musk of 10 years ago, which is definitely different than the Elon Musk today. Twitter, I think, basically drove him insane because he clinically thought, I can master any problem. If I can put somebody on Mars, if I can put a Tesla on the moon, or I can create the most spectacular machine built in the 21st century, which I think a Model S is, I can do anything. And he believes all of his publicity PR department. You can't manage your child that way. Mars and the moon and your S that you have developed does not have a component of human in it. The other thing that I think is interesting is I watched him on Bill Maher, for example, and I thought so much of what he said was so interesting to me. And the thing that's disappointing about this story is, when did he give up his commitment to ultimate free speech? He bought and spent $40 billion on Twitter, saying Twitter was run wrong because they did not unconditionally commit to free speech. His daughter comes along and, to your point about trans, says, the taxing point is hilarious that you make, but at the end of the day, even if she embraces Karl Marx and Marxist ideology, so what? A free society has a place to allow all kinds of free expression, which is what he's told us over and over and over he believes.
I do want to say, I want to argue with you just a tiny bit,
Please,
Al.
please.
So I argue that Elon Musk did not do any of the things that you just mentioned.
Credit for.
He bought a company. He wanted to turn PayPal into X back in the day, and they wouldn't let him. It didn't work, blah, blah, blah. I think he just has an obsession of styling himself as Iron Man. He wants to be seen as that person. He didn't invent things. He didn't invent Tesla. He just bought the rights to say he did. So, I think we're seeing a man-child. Well, that's not even... that's insulting to children.
He's an egomaniac.
My own 5-year-old has a better self-awareness, but I think he's doing a lot of damage to all aspects of our society, and I think this is just evidence. Maybe he should focus on the children he has.
To the point, you're a parent here at the table. To the point of what has happened with her, why do you imagine he just doesn't sit down and say, before we start, I'm pretty much going to tell you I disagree with every single thing that's going to come out of your mouth, but I will defend every single thing coming out of your mouth, which is ultimately what he has said 1,000 different times to everyone on the planet. Why couldn't he do that to her, do you think?
Well, he didn't believe it in the first place. He doesn't mean it. Free speech, he blocks people who make fun of him. It's not about free speech. It's never been about free speech. It's what is it? Free for me, not for thee, or however the saying goes. And I think we're seeing. I can't possibly understand a person like Elon Musk, but it seems like he doesn't have compassion for his daughter.
He's a true egomaniac, and more than that, he's a typical man. I think that's where we need to start. He's a typical.
And you're talking about toxic masculinity.
I'm talking about toxic masculinity. I love men. Clearly, I am one most of the time. But he has access and privilege to where, with his money, he was able to purchase things and make it in his own vision. And if it doesn't fit that way, then it is not. I'm not going to say evil. It is just. It has no proper standing. Much like his child.
Yeah.
She has transitioned. She has developed her own thoughts and opinions on his actions and the world as a whole, which is sort of the goal as what you want as a parent, right? You want like a free-thinking child to be who they are.
I don't agree with you.
Right.
Rah that you're
and
doing.
he like live blocked his daughter.
Yeah.
Like IRL. So yeah, I think he's a egomaniac. Elon Musk.
Yeah.
Next, let's queer up politics. After primary win, will Mississippi elect the state's first openly gay lawmaker? Mississippi will have its first ever openly gay state legislator after a House candidate won his Democratic primary election runoff recently. Fabian Nelson, a 38-year-old realtor from Byram, prevailed over Rashunda Harris Allen, an education professor at Tougaloo College, an alderwoman in Byram. The race to represent the House district in the South Jackson metro area was decided in a runoff after neither Nelson nor Allen received a majority vote in the August 8th primary. A local pastor finished a distant third and did not advance to the runoff. Nelson's victory comes on the heels of a historic wave of restrictions passed by Republican-controlled legislatures targeting the rights of transgender people. LGBTQ+ advocates say they've seen a record number of measures aimed at their community in 2023. Republicans did not field a candidate for the general election, so Nelson will go on to represent the district. He will be sworn in before the next legislative session in January. His win marks the fulfillment of a goal he's had since visiting the Capitol on an elementary school field trip and telling his teacher he'd sit on the House floor one day. In an interview after Nelson's victory, Rob Hill, state director of the Human Rights Campaign's Mississippi chapter, said that the victory sends a message that the majority of people reject animosity against the LGBTQ+ community. Well, I think that's awesome news, and I don't want to look a gift horse in the mouth. I'm wondering, why did the Republicans not field a candidate? But anyway, I'll take a win where we can get it. And I think it's a really great point, and it's what I've been saying. The majority of people do not have an issue with transgender people, with gay people, with anyone else. It's the people who are really trying to keep control and hold on to their power that see us as a threat or see us as a target.
You know, it's interesting. Those that claim that progressives cheat the most. And that's what happened in Mississippi. And it comes to your point. You're saying the majority of Americans do actually support the process of trans community, the black community, the LGBTQ community, women's rights for self-determination in healthcare. The way radical GOP overcome that is to cheat. And to cheat, they gerrymander. And so as a result, they can wipe out whole swaths of people. You must re-register. You've got to show up between 2:37 and 3:33. You can't have water or food in the line. You can't. And what is it? It's mostly toxic, old, white men that are passing these laws to do that. I love this. I just want to say, I love this story when it came to my attention. Fabian Nelson, we should say his name 1,000 times. I love it first. He's 39 years old. He's not my age. Love that. I love that he's black. He's not my skin color. I love that. But most importantly of all, I love he's from Jackson, Mississippi. Mississippi. Jackson, Mississippi has among the highest black identifying, not identifying, I'm using the wrong words, in terms of representation in Jackson, Mississippi, in Jackson County, among the highest in the United States. And they can't get a state representative. They can't get people to Congress. And the reason is the radical, older white guys cheated. This was, now to your point of why there's no candidate, this was contested over the last 2 years. This has been in lawsuit for 2 years because of the gerrymandering of the change of Jackson to prevent this from happening. Now, they won. Congratulations. And when I say they, I mean everyone that supports progressive thinking beyond older privileged white men, they won. And by the way, you should have taken a page out of the very famous film The Help, which took place in Jackson, Mississippi, where the black maids write a book about what toxic white men and white Karens are doing in Jackson, Mississippi. 50 years later, the black community has a very significant voice in that same community, and I think the only thing left to do to celebrate Fabian Nelson's victory for going on unopposed is to make a lot of chocolate pies. All that's left to do.
And watch them eat it.
I want to join on the celebration of Fabian Nelson, and also this story it shows the power of visualization, manifestation, and representation, right? So it says that when he went to the floor of the house, he saw himself there. And as a child, he could manifest, one day I'm going to be here. But now watch what's going to happen to the next generation. Now we have Fabian Nelson for young black kids to go to the floor of the Senate and see him there and see him proudly executing his duties. So congratulations, Fabian. You give us hope, all of us hope.
And as one gay black man to another, to be able to one day hopefully shake his hand, look him in the eyes, give him that black look that and like us connect like that is going to be like such a magical, impactful moment, because you can't do that with a lot of lawmakers. They don't get this. They're not all gay, black, sort of young men. I'm much younger than him. But I think this is just incredible that I have somebody that I can connect with in that way that's up there now. So thank you so much.
One final thought before we move on. The other issue of, I love the representation note, you can't cheat forever. One thing that we have to constantly keep in front of us is we're getting our asses kicked here in Florida, but you can't cheat forever. The polls of what's happening in the presidential election shows it. He's down 13 points from 4 months ago, he who shall not be named. There is a reason why. He can't export it to the rest of America. We asked, we wondered, we talked about it. The issue has been resolved. You can't export your crazy outside of the borders of the state of Florida. And now they're even having trouble doing that. I just point out exactly how this seat was secured in Greater Jackson, Mississippi, is what the federal court has just said in the last 7 days in North Florida. And the radical redistricting map that was forced down everyone's throat to gerrymander away especially black representation in Duval County and Jacksonville. You can't hold people down forever. Things will change. They will fight. People will be elected, just like Fabian Nelson.
Indeed, indeed.
Well, next, let's queer up gay culture. Florida's Smart Ride chases history for its 20th anniversary and a $2 million goal. Every year, the southernmost HIV/AIDS ride, Smart Ride, the second largest AIDS bicycle ride in the country, holds a fundraising bike ride in Florida to raise money for HIV causes. The Smart Ride is the only one of its size in America to give back 100% of the funds that are donated. It began in 2003 as a calling to help change the landscape and educate the broader community about HIV/AIDS. The Smart Ride 2023 is the 20th anniversary ride that is going to run from November 17th to the 18th, where riders will ride on a scenic route from Miami to Key West.
Get ready for an unforgettable adventure that's not just about cycling, but about making a real impact. Join the Smart Ride, where every pedal pushes us closer to a brighter future, by registering at thesmartride.org. Last year, over 10,000 donations were made to the event, and over $1 million was raised and returned. This year, the Smart Ride has a goal of $2 million.
It is the time to make a difference and create a better tomorrow. Your donation matters, no matter the size. In case donation and riding are not your style to help the community, you can be a crew member and help run the event.
Presented by CAN Community Health, all funds earned by the event go to various LGBTQ+ organizations, including Broward House, AHF, Miracle of Love, Pride Lines, Compass Community Center, and Empath Partners in Care.
Yes. I am a bicycle rider, and I love riding my bicycle everywhere you see me coming from Miami Beach here. So I cannot wait to take Magdalena to the Smart Ride. She's going to have a ball.
You would have a lot of fun doing that.
Yes, I will.
And as a big fitness bro, I am clearly rooting for this event. I'm also rooting for my dear friend Matt on Instagram. He is at DZ Wonky. I've known him to participate in these rides for quite a bit of time now, and I just want to give him my support. I love you so much, and I am rooting for you. DZ Wonky on Instagram.
I think I will be joining as crew.
That's your choice.
I like to bike ride, but I tried the 20. Glenn was like, "Can you do 20 miles?" And I was like, "I think so," and it was rough. It was rough. It took a long time.
Yeah,
so I'm like,
kind of train.
yeah.
I got you, bro.
Yeah.
I'll pass out waters. But it looks like it's an amazing, such a moving experience. I really want to be there.
I have to tell you, last year, I've known of the ride for years and years and years. I've made 1,001 excuses. By the way, the vast majority of riders are not fitness riders. It's a misnomer.
But some are.
Some are, right. I did it last year, reporting for Hotspots and Happening Out, and I drove, and I would go into the different stops. I stayed the night at Hawks Key where they overnight. I went to Key West. Glenn Weinzimmer had told me repeatedly what a special experience it was, and it really is a special experience. Not because of the money, but let's face it, these organizations need the money, and that's the real cherry on top. But the community issue, in a time where much of my social network says HIV/AIDS, it's over. You don't need it. We're the #1 and #2 counties in America on new transmission for HIV. And so it's not over. It brings the entire community together. And this being the 20th anniversary and this incredible goal, whether they achieve it or not, the fact that they would set out, wait, we could be safe and say we need to do $1,000,001. No. We need to do $2 million. I applaud them for that. I just want to remind everybody, you've talked about different ways that you could participate. Francia and Bonnie's participation would be different than Mateo. We've learned that in our conversations. Let's just be clear what we've told in the story. First is it's September. It's the first week in September. Think about writing. You have plenty of time to get ready in mid-November. Reach out to Glenn Weinzimmer, Todd Delmay, the new incoming executive director, or others about thinking about riding in it, because that really is the principal thing. If that's not your thing, then second, think about how you're supporting. You know someone riding, and make a $20 donation to them for riding because you're not riding. That's the second way you can support. And then the third way is you can still participate, volunteer. And Mateo makes the note. Serving waters. I went into rest stops. There are people driving vehicles where if you have bike issues, they stop and fix your bike or move you to the next stop, or even move you to Hawks Key or to Key West High School if that is necessary. All of these are volunteers, and you contribute as significantly as if you were a rider or you're donating. So any of those three things over the time leading up to mid-November, you can do. The most important thing is don't sit there. Take some action for commitment for Smart Ride. It's historic in its 20th anniversary.
We'll see you all there.
Yeah.
Next, we're proud of our special partnership with Sunshine Cathedral, the world's largest queer church here in Fort Lauderdale. Supporting that partnership, we're broadcasting from our permanent set here at Sunshine Cathedral at the Happening Out television studios. We broadcast Sunshine Cathedral Sunday International Service at 10:30 a.m.
Well, we're going to finish tonight's Queer News headlines with a segment we call LGBTQ plus 1 Minute News.
LGBTQ plus 1 Minute News. Let's queer up South Florida and Florida. Transsocial is asking local artists to help with a new website cover image. Transsocial wants a new website cover photo, and it's calling all trans and gender nonconforming artists to help in this. Transsocial is hosting a month-long art submission for their website cover photo. There's some rules to be followed if you want to submit your entry. The cover photo design has to be 850 x 250 size with a general theme surrounding trans joy. The artist must also answer certain questions before submitting the entry, such as name, place, artistic background, previous work, etc. Designs can be submitted by September 30th at 11:59 p.m. to bo@transsocial.org. The winner will receive a gift box from the Transsocial and be announced on October 1st to be immediately displayed on their homepage.
LGBTQ plus 1 Minute News. Let's queer up hotspots. Prideskate celebrates the short Labor Day week this week on Thursday. Stonewall Pride Skate Nights are a fun, family-friendly event benefiting the Wilton Manor Stonewall Pride and Festival, part of Hotspots happening out. This Thursday, September 7th, the community will have fun on quad roller skates in the arena roller ring at Extreme Action Park to celebrate Labor Day week and help support the local LGBTQ plus community. Ticket prices start at $15 and $5 of every ticket that is sold will go to Wilton Manor's Entertainment Group, the creators of the Stonewall Pride Parade and Festival. The event will feature local community heroes, dignitaries, and organizations, as well as great music by DJ T-Pro Mix and performances by Velvet Lenore and Rihanna Petrone. Buy your tickets in advance at extremeactionpark.com.
LGBTQ plus 1 Minute News. Let's queer up gay culture. Iowa Town's mayor bans pride group from Labor Day parade. A local LGBTQ plus pride group was excluded from a Southwest Iowa Town's Labor Day parade, apparently by the city's mayor, who cited safety concerns. Shenandoah Pride planned to have a small group walking with a banner and a drag performer riding in a convertible with candy, popsicles, and stickers to hand out in the parade in Essex, Iowa. The parade is part of a 4-day festival in Essex, which has about 720 residents. Ryan Fuller, who planned to ride in the convertible as his drag identity Cherry Peaks, said he received an email from the parade's organizer notifying him of the decision. Essex Mayor Calvin Kenney spearheaded the decision with no motions or city council vote. Council member Heather Thornton, who disagreed with the move, said, quote, "It was the mayor himself," end quote, and added she was told he had the authority and didn't need a council vote. Despite the parade decision, Shenandoah Pride had a vendor booth at the festival.
LGBTQ plus 1 Minute News. Let's queer up travel. Canada issues travel advisory to LGBTQ plus residents on traveling to Florida and USA. The Canadian government is warning its LGBTQ plus citizens of risks they could face when traveling to the U.S., citing new laws in several states. Neither the statement nor the travel advisory single out specific states or laws. The updated travel advice comes after the U.S.-based advocacy group Human Rights Campaign declared a national state of emergency for LGBTQ plus people in June. The updated Canadian advisory also tells travelers to beware of laws that criminalize same-sex activities and relationships or target people based on their sexual orientation or gender identity.
LGBTQ plus 1 Minute News. Let's queer up South Florida and Florida. Nazi groups protest outside of DisneyWorld in support of DeSantis.
DisneyWorld rapes children.
Are you all affiliated with Blood Drug?
No.
No, we asked them to.
We're the Black Sun with affiliates from 14 First and Aryan Freedom Network.
The time has come that we have to stop. You must stand up for your race. You must stand up for your children. No one else will. You have hundreds of groups that stand in defense of all the murderers races? How many groups stand in defense of the white race? We can't even get our own government to stand for the white race. No one is coming to save us. It is time that we save ourselves.
Skin and I don't care. Who, Enrique?
Enrique?
The brown guy?
Yeah.
In charge of the... Who gives a shit?
He's sentenced next week.
Okay. So he should skin, he should be in chains. That's what he gets for trying to impersonate white people. They will eventually own everything in the world. They want to buy everything in the world.
HB 269 recently
Groups of neo-Nazis and white supremacists spread anti-Semitic, white supremacist, and anti-LGBTQ+ messages outside DisneyWorld Orlando and in the nearby area Saturday in the latest examples of rising hatred in the U.S. About 15 people wearing clothing and bearing flags emblazoned with Nazi insignias and DeSantis campaign flags demonstrated outside the entrance of the Disney Springs shopping center. The group consisted of members of neo-Nazi groups like Order of the Black Sun, Aryan Freedom Network, and 14 First, a now disbanded group that has been absorbed into the Nationalist Socialist Movement, the largest neo-Nazi group in the U.S. According to the Orange County Sheriff's Office, the extremists dispersed after about 2 hours and no one was arrested.
That is today's news for the LGBTQ+ community on the world's first and only daily LGBTQ+ evening news show.
If our community is important to you, share this news with your friends and family. Are you, like most of America, part of our very large television audience watching this live LGBTQ+ news broadcast right now on Roku, Apple TV, Android TV, and Amazon Fire TV?
Queer News Tonight is the only live LGBTQ+ digital television show in the world that is out of the closet and into the headlines. We need your support. If our community is to grow, we must tell our stories and bring them to the attention of the broader world. This is the only place in the world that tells these types of LGBTQ+ stories in motion and sound. That is the passion of Hotspots Magazine, Happening Out Television Network, and Queer News Tonight.
I'm your anchor, Al Ferguson, and on behalf of these LGBTQ+ reporters, the anchors of Queer News Tonight, including Francia, Mateo Ventura Bruer, and Bonny Builder, we will see you daily at 8 p.m. And to our LGBTQ+ world, we wish you
Good night.
We are Queer News Tonight, the world's first and only live daily LGBTQ+ evening news show, brought to you from Happening Out Television Network. We operate in the same model of PBS and NPR, but for the LGBTQ+ community. We educate, inform, and entertain by supporting the 10 pillars of our LGBTQ+ community, with more than 100,000 a week watching us on Roku, Apple Television, and other channels. To keep the story going, we accept donations with 100% transparency. Stay updated and live authentically with Queer News Tonight.